What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Invasive Brews. We're getting ready for another Invasive Brews adventure. We're going to a state that has a wide range of ecosystems, from grasslands to forests to dunes to some of the most unique freshwater ecosystems on the planet, the Great Lakes. We are going to the amazing state of Michigan. This will be my first time in the state, so I'm looking forward to it. I got to get the Jeep loaded up and I gotta get on the road because it's a 15-hour drive. One of the tiniest invasive species here in Michigan is also one that has the potential to affect all of those ecosystems that I mentioned. And that's the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid. Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, or HWA, was introduced to the eastern United States in the early 1900s, most likely on imported ornamental Japanese hemlock trees. Since then, it's been devastating our native hemlocks. Hemlock trees can reach around 900 years old and are vastly important to the old-growth ecosystems of the eastern United States, especially around the Great Lakes area, keeping the dune ecosystems intact with their shallow root systems. Areas where HWA have caused severe hemlock loss showed more sunlight hitting the forest floors, higher temperatures, and the nutrient cycles were altered greatly, and all those aspects allowed invasive plants to take hold in the forest floors. Also, in riparian areas, the loss of hemlock trees due to the adelgid had erosion problems. They had higher temperatures in the streams and the rivers. They had decreased water quality and decreased populations in aquatic invertebrates, which is pretty important to fish populations. So we met up with a crew from the Ottawa Conservation District to see what can be done to help reduce the spread of this tiny insect.
But it's relatively new infestation for Michigan. So we are going after it a little bit differently than other states would. They're kind of just doing their best to manage it and live with it, and we've sort of been trying to knock it back, suppress it the best that we can. It's a small insect, and it feeds on the sap of the hemlock tree and kills it after infestation within 4 to 10 years. So that is exclusively what this food does, is to that species. And in the county that we're in, basically every property that has eastern hemlocks on it is affected. This property is mostly treated already.
You want to grab?
Most of what they're doing is a basil bark spray today, which is what we do to the smaller trees.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more difficult because we have to wait for no rain in the forecast in order to do that, so we don't take any risks, especially being this close to the Great Lakes.
You wanna use this one, Kyle?
Yep.
Okay.
Most of our treatment is injection, which is what I'm about to do. And it's a much better method because we put the chemical directly into the trunk of the tree as opposed to anywhere else into the environment. Brendan, can you tell me if 4781 is a 4?
One is a 4.
All right, please move to injection.
Happy.
So yeah, injection just requires putting one hole into the base of the tree for every inch in DBH, which you're probably aware of what that means, what its diameter at breast height. So this is a 4. So I put 4 holes into the base. And hopefully my injector will work. Otherwise it'll be embarrassing. Right now I just have water in the lines I have to clear out. And now I can tell I have chemical all in the line. And I put 2 milliliters into each hole that I created. And that is the injection process. It's pretty simple. The chemical that we use takes about a year for it to reach the canopy. But once it's there, it's 5 to 7 years that the tree should be protected.
And if they feed on the leaves, that's when they ingest it and...
Yeah, they exist at the base of the needles. If there's a I don't know if this tree's been treated previously or not. You can find the HWA ovisax, which is like the dead giveaway. Typically it'll be right at the stem at the base of the needle. There's like a white woolly mass. And they will feed on the sap and defoliation occurs. Sort of depends on the condition of the tree.
That looks like a web. It's a spider web.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
So here's what a heavy HWA infestation looks like. Where you look for them are on the base of the underside of the needles. And you're looking for that flocculent, kind of woolly mass. That's the egg mass and the tiny bugs on the inside.
Brain, because obviously like on these little guys we can't put a drill to them and expect them to survive.
We're able to play a pretty unique role in the multi-agency effort to fight Hemlock Woolly Adelgid. In Michigan, the majority of forests are actually privately held, versus places out west where a lot of it's state or federal owned. So we're able to play a nice role in getting government/grant money funneled into private landowners and be able to treat these properties, kind of connect these corridors between these state and federal lands on the coast.
This type of treatment is very similar to the treatment of emerald ash borer. There are nearly 170 million hemlocks in Michigan, and it's not just the ecosystems that are feeling the stress from this invasive. The nursery industry in North Carolina and Tennessee alone maintain around $34 million of hemlock trees. And after a day treating and spraying for invasive insects like the adelgid and scale, who wouldn't need a good beer and food? And just down the road from our hotel in Wyoming, Michigan, was Two Guys Brewing. The flight of delicious beers and the giant proportions from the kitchens weren't the highlights of the visit. It was when we met the owners, Amy and Tom, that really highlighted this visit. Much like most brewers, Tom started home brewing and built a business around his passion. After renovating a 7-Eleven, Two Guys was born. Brewing and business weren't the only things that we talked about. Of course, I asked them about the fishing in the area. Both Amy and Tom told me that they were fishermen and took their grandkids out fishing all the time. So they pointed us in the right direction of some good spots. They then told us how they converted their back area that was nothing but hard clay that couldn't grow anything to a garden where they and their customers harvest cucumbers, basil, tomatoes, and other veggies. All in all, I had a great time talking with them. So if you are ever in Wyoming, Michigan and need a good beer, an amazing chicken sandwich, or just an awesome conversation with two locals, Two Guys Brewing is the place you want to go.